Welcome, everybody. I think that now everybody is connected. Welcome to the first lecture of the Archive Online Academy. This is the first lecture of the program for 2024-2025. Archive Online Academy is the educational project of the Archive Center, devoted to the analysis and recording of cultural heritage in Venice. It's a partnership between Fondazione Giorgio Cini and Factum Foundation, supported by Helen Hamlin Trust. My name is Costanza Blaskovic and I represent Factum Foundation. For the students at partner university who needs CFU credits, crediti CFU, please follow the instructions in the chat. You will have to send a private message on the chat to the profile Fondazione Giorgio Cini. Today and next week, on 23rd of September, we will focus on IIIF and specifically on access to image-based resources in the context of IIIF protocol. I will start with a little history, but I will be very briefly. The founder of IIIF, Tom Kramer from Stanford University, when describing IIIF's story, remembers that it all started with the necessity to find an interoperable solution for the Stanford University Digital Library, which was a beautiful digital library hosting a vast collection. We were in 2006, 2007. But still, the digital library was facing some problems. For example, images were loading slowly. There were no interactive tools for the users. And the library itself was difficult to build from a technical point of view. But the users of Stanford University and the users of Stanford Digital Library were using it, and they were happy with it, but still wanted more. They wanted to export the images, to annotate, to compare the images with those of other sites, other collections, and maybe sometimes to run automatic transcriptions on the presented contents. So Stanford started to look around for who else had similar problems and also similar data sets. And the idea was to start to work collectively with these other institutions. It turned out that many other cultural institutions had similar problems, and a table for discussion was set. In 2010, a group of institutions started to discuss intensely on the topic. So for sure, the Stanford University, Johns Hopkins, the French National Library with Gallica, Oxford National Library, and others. They realized that they were all doing the same things and trying to reach similar goals, but in very different ways, displaying collections similarly, but working in parallel on different structures and software, creating what are called sets of silos. Each institution was creating stacks of technologies and contents next to each other, as is still happening, of course. But in this way, the users must navigate from collection to collections to compare the information. What changed it all has been thinking globally, and so share problems and results. The newborn IIIF community started to work on the creation of a framework, which is a set of standards for sharing image-based resources in a way that could have been mutually useful, redesigning not only the way contents are shared, but also the piece of software behind it. So thinking as a community and sharing progresses, in many cases, codes. The main goals set, initially at least, were have a fast and deep zoom into images. Another goal was to deliver large images on the web in an effective way, of course, and to compare images both from the same site, from the same collection, online collection, and from different sites at the same time. Or, moreover, virtually rejoining objects scattered around the globe and around different collections. So, for example, pages teared apart from a book. From a technical point of view, all this and now much more, we will see examples today and next week. All this have been possible thanks to the use of the APIs, application programming interfaces, in place of silo-structured system. APIs are a set of functions that allow us to build or use various software or servers without duplicating the content, even if we want to display the content on different sites or application. In fact, APIs allow different software applications to communicate with each other, permitting then interoperability and reuse. In sum, IIIF goal is to put together institutions, users, and programmers' needs, skills, and expectations, enabling access to collections easily, both from a technical point of view and from a point of view of the end user. At the same time, ensuring a higher level of interaction. The IIIF community, which is very active, and the meetings, for example, are open to all, the schedules are online. Well, the fact that the community is very strong is something fundamental for the developing of IIIF. In these lectures, I hope we will see how important the effort of the community is and how big is the role of users and institutions. I'm now glad to introduce today's speakers, Flavia Bruni, Gennaro Ferrante, Ilenia Maschietto, and Dario Peluso. Everybody in the audience is invited to ask questions or leave comments in the chat here in Zoom. I will gather all the messages and revert them to the speaker, preferably at the end of the lecture, when we will have a dedicated question and answer time. We start now, we begin with Flavia Bruni, who will introduce us to the Europeana and IIIF, a long-standing commitment. She is lecturer at the University of Chieti Pescara and a member of the Venice Center for Digital and Public Humanities at Ca' Foscari University in Venice. And since 2018, member of Europeana Members Council. So I'll leave you the floor. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so thank you. I hope you can see my screen, and thanks for inviting me to this series of lectures. I'm really happy to represent today Europeana. I am a member also of some communities and some community steering groups, as I will say later on. This presentation is going to be really basic, so I'm going to provide a sort of introduction to the topic, but I'm happy to ask questions today or even in the future if you wish. So as a historian, I think it's important to highlight how Europeana started, because I think it makes clear what is also going on today with Europeana. The first idea of Europeana was born in 2005, and it was Jacques Chirac's idea, who wrote to the president of the European Commission asking to create a virtual European library. Why? So why in 2005? If we think back to that point, we will understand that it's just when Google started its rise, not just as a search engine, but as a platform for sharing digital content. So Google started digitizing books all over the world, and it was putting itself as the main digital library of the world. So the fear that moved Chirac to write to the president of the European Commission was that Google is, of course, a commercial product. So it's a tool that was designed and used by a commercial company, and we don't know basically what can happen in the future. So we need today, as in 2005, to do something to strengthen our public cultural institutions and the digital aspect of them. And so with this, with purpose, a digital platform was born. I won't go through all the stages, but this, what I think it's important to highlight is the idea behind it. And if we think of Europeana today, we will first think of a digital platform for the sharing of data. And one important aspect that is that it's meant to be for everyone, not just for people into research or education, but also just for everyone looking for pictures, for instance, digital objects, also sounds or videos, just for fun, as we use any other search engine. And so it collects about 60 million objects of different kinds, like such as images, text, sounds, and videos, and 3D, that is the new frontier that Europeana is now trying to develop. And what it's important to stress is that all these digital objects come from a variety of cultural institutions. About 4,000 GLAMS institutions, that is galleries, libraries, archives, and museums. And this is what Costanza was already mentioning at the start of this presentation, that every institution has its own data model. So interoperability is a crucial aspect for Europeana, and it's one of the main issues that it has had to face in the past and still today. So how does this work? It is not just a matter of technical issues, but it's a matter of values that are behind this work. And data and metadata should be not just reliable. That is a plus that Europeana wants to offer, comparing to other commercial services such as search engines, but they should be usable and reusable. So you can already see the connection with a resource such as the IIIF. Reuse means that not just data should be reusable in research and education, but perhaps also for creative industries. This is a crucial point and also a controversial one, because our cultural institutions usually tend to try and make money out of licenses for their digital objects and the reproduction of their objects. But the idea behind Europeana is that the more we share, also, for instance, through some commercial, for instance, if we have someone wanting to print T-shirts with the reproduction of a very famous painting, Europeana tries to encourage this, because we believe that the more a picture becomes viral, we would say today viral, the more people would be interested in visiting a museum. So it's a like of advertisement that is encouraging everyone to visit our cultural institutions. So how Europeana is trying to encourage this openness of rights. This is not an easy fact. This is because, of course, Europeana is involving institutions that are based in several countries. So each country has its own regulations, and Europeana cannot impose any rule on each country. So this is done through an encouragement that is through 4 tiers of criteria for the sharing of data through Europeana. So basically, Europeana can be used in several ways. It can be just a search engine, so meaning that a user can search through Europeana a content that can be perhaps only available somewhere else. That would be the website, for instance, of an individual institution, but not available also on Europeana's platform. Of course, it can be also shared through Europeana. It can be promoted through the creation of virtual exhibitions, for instance, or collections, thematic collections, or blogs, galleries, and so on and so forth. And as I was trying to explain earlier, not just for non-commercial, but perhaps even for commercial reuse. So the idea that Europeana is trying to build on is that data should be of a minimum level, quality level, that will allow the use in these 4 tiers. The more the quality of data is high, the higher the quality of data is, the better will be the sharing of data in these different channels, and also wider the public. And here we come to the IIIF standard. As Costanza was saying, before the IIIF was conceived, there was no standard for the sharing of images, and interoperability was a serious issue through all the cultural platform. So Europeana immediately went for this standard, putting it as a part of this strategy for the data publication that is summarized by this motto: the more you give, the more you get. The more you give to users in terms of ability to share data, ability to reuse by granting licenses, the more you will get as an institution in terms of audience. We need to keep in mind how this works in terms of sharing. What is the data flow from each individual institution to Europeana? So cultural institutions, of course, are the repositories that owns the data, that have them also digital objects available, and to be shared through Europeana, they need to go through an aggregator. There are institutions that act as a sort of filter, and this is very important because, of course, each institution adopt its own data model, and it should be harmonized and mapped with that of Europeana. So we can think of Europeana as a network in which each institution is connected to the core, to Europeana, through an aggregator. And the work of each aggregator is to map the data model of each institution to that of Europeana. And the IIIF has a role in this, of course, for the data, for the image visualization. But we need also to understand that Europeana is not just a platform, it's not just a technical tool, but it's perhaps it's more than other thing, is a network of people. So as we were also saying about the IIIF, Europeana is a network of cultural heritage professionals that are trying to connect and to solve together the issues that are posed by their work in the digital realm. So it's a community of people, and besides the Europeana.eu website, we also have another portal that is the Europeana Professional, Europeana Pro. That is indeed a portal that is meant for helping the professionals of the cultural heritage sector in the digital transformation. So in this particular stage of our work as cultural professionals. How this is done? It's done through being part of each community. There are several communities. For instance, one that is particularly relevant on this topic is the Europeana Tech, that is the community dealing with all the technical issues. But there are several resources that can be looked at to sort issues that can arise with the interaction between each institution, the IIIF and Europeana. So among these, we will find, first of all, we will have to look at this Europeana and IIIF page that offers a series of resources. So very relevantly, they can be training resources, and there is a specific working group on the IIIF that is indeed named IIIF and Europeana. I want to underline that everyone can join communities, steering groups, working groups. Everything is free, so you will not earn any money out of it, but you will be involved in the development of resources, in the discussion, and in understanding how everything works, and in making better what is not perhaps working properly at the moment. There are also a series of other resources, and what I think is really relevant here is the discussion on APIs that are ways of creating an interaction between data models, as I was stressing earlier. So to map data models that are used in different institutions with that of Europeana. And as you can see here, to make objects that are that complies with the IIIF, there are into Europeana to be visualized through a IIIF viewer without any other intervention on the Europeana side. There are then a series of resources that are properly like webinars to learn more, also starting from scratch for anyone not knowing much about how IIIF works, and especially in connection with Europeana. Sometimes they are available online also at any time, also later, so it can be attended anytime. And I am also very happy to introduce this brand new resource that is Europeana Academy, that was launched about 1 week ago, so it's brand new, and it's meant to provide two kind of courses, so online courses where everyone can sign up for free. Everything is for free. Ask questions and interact with the professionals providing courses, and also some offline courses that can be attended at any time for not in specific timelines. And as you can see here, it's very one of the first courses that is provided is indeed on the IIIF standard for Europeana. It will run tomorrow. Unfortunately, it's fully booked, so it's not possible to sign up now. But don't worry, because the courses will run several times over the year. As I said, this is brand new, so we are just starting advertising it. So if you are interested, keep an eye on the page. You can sign up for newsletters, and you will be able to attend future courses. So I think it's an interesting resources that the European Commission is offering us. One final remarks in this very brief introduction is that the IIIF also has a very relevant role in the visualization of 3D objects. That is one of the objectives that Europeana is focusing at the moment, improving the digitization of 3D objects and offering a good visualization through indeed viewers such as the IIIF ones. I want to finish this very short presentation by reminding that everything is financed by the European Union, so it's our money. It's something that we can improve if we want to commit ourselves, working in any of the working groups of the communities. There are things that perhaps are not working at the best. So instead of perhaps criticize and complain against what is not working as we would like things to work, perhaps we can have a role in improving resources. And this is because, as I said, it's important to have resources that are supported by our countries, our states, and as an alternative to the power of commercial companies, I think. So any question today or in the future, please, I'm happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, as said, people can ask questions through the chat or raising the hands, and let's see, maybe at the end we can gather them all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will continue with Gennaro Ferrante, Professor of Philology of Medieval Texts, Latin and Italian at the University of Naples Federico II, where he coordinates the Illuminated Dante project and its recent extension, the Naples Dante project, which will be the focus of his lecture today, if I'm not wrong, right?
Right, Costanza. Thank you very much for presenting me and the topic of my discussion. Want to thank you and also Elenia Maschietto for inviting me in this series of lecture, which I find really interesting. I start by sharing my documents, so you maybe can see what I'm presenting. And I don't know if can you give me any feedback about seeing the documents?
Yes, we see it.
Okay, okay. So, yes, okay. I am a professor of Italian philology, and in also in relationship with what we heard before in the very interesting presentation about Europeana or Europeana or whatever you want to pronounce, is the fact that the Illuminated Dante project is more focused on research on a specific topic, which is if I can say, a monographic topic. So the topic is Dante, and Dante is one of my research fields since a while, and Dante tradition, also Dante manuscript traditions. So what I simply did is to connect my study and the study of my research team on Dante Dante manuscripts and Dante manuscript tradition with the opportunity and the necessity of displaying displaying the objects of our research in a more complex and interoperable environment. That's why I created with a few people at the beginning 6 years ago, the Illuminated Dante project. The Illuminated Dante project is also is an ongoing project, and it is focusing on a specific also topic of the manuscript tradition of Dante Commedia, the Dante masterwork, the Divine Comedy, which is the illuminated manuscripts. So the manuscripts which present more or less rich iconographic apparatus in their folios. So the Illuminated Dante project was launched in 2016, and it aims to provide access and exploration of illuminated manuscripts of the Commedia. It focuses on creating high-resolution digital reproduction and updated catalog records of such manuscripts. What you see in this page is we are talking about IIIF, which is also as we heard before, it's a kind of it's a set of standards about displaying high resolution images on the web, and we decided since the beginning of our of the conception of this project to adopt the IIIF environment set of standards in order to display and to use also images of our archive, image archive on the web. So to achieve this goal, Illuminated Dante project of IDP, in short form, developed an online platform hosted on the servers of Federico II University. The domain site is www.dante.unina.it, so you can also access there and see the catalog. The catalog records are encoded using XML TEI, while the images are displayed using the main manifest JSON within the International Image Interoperability Framework. So what we saw before was a part of the manifest which contains all the information useful to display the image on on the web through the IIIF environment. Collaboration with the Central Institute for the Union Catalog of Italian Libraries, the ICU, has allowed IDP to share metadata with its online manuscript catalog, which is Manus Online. And additionally, IDP has created a database for iconographic description, including searchable classes such as stylistic attribution, decorative type, execution technique, and iconography. This is a part of a page which displaying a description, the stylistic description of the manuscript, which is on our catalog. The iconography in particular, so it's a very articulated and complex description, and the IDP, as we can imagine, is also focusing on the iconography in particular. So this class is divided into two levels: image text, so image text relationship, and indexing. The image text level focuses on classifying the relationship between each image and a poem's text, such as cantica, canto, and tercet, but also with paratext, meaning heading, glosses, commentaries, internal context, such as topography of the afterlife, and external context also, so connection with Dante and non-Dantean iconographic tradition. It also displays the narrativity level of each illustration. Iconographical subject is divided within 3 layers: subject, hyper subject, and keywords. We have no time to explain what these levels of this are about this articulation, but maybe one other time we can face this topic. On the front-end side, the Illuminated Dante project interface allows users to query the corpus of illuminated manuscripts from different angles. The catalog can be accessed in alphabetical order by cities, providing a brief presentation, a detailed codicological description, and a specific section devoted to a decoration. The map, this is a detailed external description, which is external and internal. So we provide a description of the material aspects of the manuscript, of the cultural object, which is in our case the manuscript, and detailed internal description, which is in our case the text, with all its articulation. The map, there's also a map view, offers a geographical perspective, enabling users to explore the distribution of the manuscript tradition of the Commedia. If we want to, for example, to access, if we want to access the manuscript by using the IIIF manifest, we can do this in this way. For example, let me show you how to do. For example, we can go to the I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. So you can go to this to the site, opening the collection. I just wanted to also to announce that we are establishing a collaboration to translate all the database in English. So we will have all the data translated into English. So all the description will be translated. So you can go to the manuscripts which are already cataloged, and go to the short description, open the detailed description, and read about the description, external and internal description, or you can go directly with through the little icon showing the logo of Mirador. You can go to the manuscripts, and you can also, maybe you already know how to use Mirador, which is a viewer compatible, compliant with IIIF environment. You can also add some other resource, and to add some other resource in order to compare with Mirador is also pretty accessible, because you can copy the manifest JSON from the short description and add it directly to our resource. Let me try again. That believe me, it's normally work. It normally works. So you will try. Okay, it's a little bit slow, but it works. So you will have the two items, and you can also compare them in order to in any detail. So let me go to the presentation again. Apart from public sharing of digital resources, IDP focuses also IDP and also the next development of IDP, which I will explain further, also focuses on scientific communication. High-resolution images and the ability to compare resources through Mirador have facilitated discoveries in various fields of study. The results of this integrated and multidisciplinary approach have been communicated through peer-reviewed journals, already communicated through peer-reviewed journals, and more recently in a miscellaneous volume to be published by the end of this year. Building of these achievements, IDP has launched spin-off projects such as the FRAC. FRAC is Fragments of Comedia, a project in collaboration with Swiss-based Fragmentarium, which is also an archive, an image archive using IIIF. And it aims to catalog all the fragmented items of the Commedia up to the 15th century and put online their digital copies and metadata. On the other hand, we are developing also illustrated Dante project, which will include early printed books and in-series drawings. The corpus consists of 18 illustrated printed editions and a list of drawings such as Botticelli, the Anonymous at Pierpont Morgan Library, Johannes von Stradano, Jacopo Ligozzi, Ludovico Cigori, and Federico Zuccari, and so on. So this new perspective had paved the way for the Naples Dante project. Existing corpora of the IDP, this is a short view of what will be the front page of the Naples Dante project. The existing corpora of the IDP and FRAC will be supplemented by the rest of the manuscript tradition to form Icomedia, completing the digital survey of Dante manuscripts. Two additional components of the NDP network, NDP stands for Naples Dante Project, will focus on Dante's Commedia, which are Dante critical texts a comparative tool for modern critical edition of the Divine Comedy, and Commenti Danteschi, Coda, a database of the earliest exegesis of the Divine Comedy in vernacular and Latin. So in this ambitious project aims to establish the largest digital portal dedicated to the manuscripts and printed tradition of Dante Alighieri's Commedia, equipped with IIIF compliant image archives, records, and tools for digital textual scholarship, and also for automatic recognition of illumination and engravings. It aims to fill the bridge between to fill the gap between existing online projects on Dante and to possibly link its data to them. To achieve this, this is a kind of personal workflow I imagined for the Nepos Dante project, which is, I don't know how much of this is understandable, but this is an IT expert translation of my workflow. And to achieve this, we need to reconsider the overall data architecture and adopt more abstract and linked open data compliant models for the two main entities of Nepos Dante project, which will be image from one side, and we have already focused on this field, but also text now. So text, and for text I mean textual variants, comparison of critical editions, philological apparatuses, and so on. For this purpose, we have decided to use Cadmus, an editing framework developed by Daniele Fusi in Venice University, which has been introduced in many showcases. Cadmus handles as the give us the opportunity to handle various types of data by focusing on logical models. It considers models as dynamic and continuously evolving over time, and it integrates editing functionalities in a single backend environment, including a central database, graphical interface, simultaneous editing, real-time validation, and search. The Cadmus framework proposes interesting solution for the two fundamental axes of data editing in Nepos Dante project, which are, as I said, images and text, in terms of classification and annotation. For manuscript description, Nepos Dante project will adopt codicology, which is sufficiently abstract to suit any type of medieval manuscript. So its high granularity allows for the isolation of numerous codicological features to index, aggregate, and process a significant amount of data. So this is the articulation of Dante of codicology, which is already working on Cadmus, and we are adopting codicology and develop a specific model for Dante codicology. And as for Dante iconography, codicology will likely require further refinement, as I said, of the basic model, integrating the classification levels mentioned above. So if, for example, image-text relationship, iconographic indexing, etc., and so on. Another collaboration with Iconclass, which will also allow us to provide, to put our iconographical data also in a logged environment. I don't know if I have some other time, so I can also stop here and maybe leave the other some other issues for the next discussion.
I will be pleased if you continue, so we still have time.
Okay. I just want to give some examples of what Naples Dante project will be also on the manuscript, because on the manuscript studies, because we also want to adopt beside the basic IIIF API image and API presentation and an annotation tool with which will permit to annotate directly the information on the manuscripts by the researcher in a first instance, and after also in a crowdsourcing environment also by advanced users or interested users interested in a manuscript studies. This is, for example, the opening verses of the Divine Comedy from one of the already digitized items available on our portal, the manuscript which is at the library of Girolamini in Naples. In just these first 3 verses, we find a series of significant elements that operate at different levels of analysis. We have paleographic features, for example, abbreviation of per nel mezzo del cammin di nostra vita mi ritrovai per, which is with an abbreviation. We have linguistic annotation. For example, the use of C with cedilla for the voiceless palatal affricate sound. We have orthographic features, for example, variability in doubling the consonants, and we have more ecdotic, more philological features, such as, for example, the variation scura instead of oscura. So this Cadmus environment allows us also to use this annotation tool, Annotorius, which is also provided by Annotorius, so allowing us to specify and distinguish all these features. So we can do the same for as for the illustration, for example. The miniature on the folio 60 verso from the same manuscript associated with the corresponding decoration data on the it is already associated with the corresponding decoration data on our portal. But in this case, the presence of multiple levels of analysis, both stylistic and iconographic, can be managed through the image annotation system using a modular stratification. This approach allows for better indexing and lays the groundwork for semantic connection between non-hierarchical levels. This is only an example, and which this example will bring to a more articulated and also more articulated system of data, which will be reusable, findable, and reusable also in a load environment. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm ready for the discussion, for the further discussion.
Thank you very much. By the way, in the meantime, I was trying to add in Dante Unina various manuscripts from different libraries, and it was working. It's probably just a connection problem. Thank you very much. Now, going toward the end of the day, I would like to introduce Ilenia Maschietto and Dario Peluso, that they will introduce us to the work in progress on the digital library of Fondazione Giorgiucini. Ilenia Maschietto, librarian graduated at the Vatican School of Library Science. She's an expert on rare books at Fondazione Cini, in particular on early Venetian printed books. Dario Peluso is a computer vision expert, currently leads software development for Archive at Fondazione Cini. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Costanza, for the presentation, and many thanks to Flavia, Bruni, and Gennaro Ferrante for having preceding us and shared their many years of experience in presenting these two projects that are very valuable also for us today. I try to share my screen. And okay, so okay, now I think you can see
yes,
the PDF. Okay. Today we would like to take this opportunity to share with you the work in progress on the digital library of the Fondazione Cini. Indeed, we are still defining some style choices and also some technical details, but in general, the architecture is almost complete and almost ready to welcome new collection on it. Before showing you the result, we have arrived by presenting the first collection that have found space for publication. I will make a brief introduction for those who do not know us. I think it is useful to give you at least an idea of the real multidisciplinary context in which the digital library fits in. So the Fondazione Giorgio Cini was founded on the island of San Giorgio Maggiore in 1951 by Vittorio Cini, a great Italian businessman, politician, and collector. The occasion of the tragic and untimely death of his son, Giorgio, led Vittorio to dedicate himself to restoring the island's former splendor, creating a cultural institution in memory of his son, based on an international spirit from the beginning. It must be remembered that the island, located right opposite San Marco Square, was the place of one of the most important Benedictine community, important in terms of number of monks and in terms of prosperity and power. So the island had been, during the centuries, at a certain point, had been invaded and occupied first by Napoleon and then by the Austrian army. And at the end, remained abandoned for about 150 years until the intervention of Vittorio Cini. As you can see from this slide, after its creation in 1951, various research institutes have been established starting in 1954 with the Art History Institute, and for 70 years have been studying and investigating Italian civilization on a multidisciplinary level, from art history to literature, from theater to music, from the history of Venice to comparative spirituality. Each institute is not only every year engaged in cultural production and in-depth specific scientific study, through the organization of conferences, exhibitions, performances, publications, and workshops. But it also manages specialized bibliographic collection and special and personal archive funds. I will try to give you just a few examples. The Institute of Art History preserves one of the most important photo libraries on the history of modern art. And in the library, that is the largest in the island of San Giorgio, it is possible to access a collection of rare illustrated Venetian editions from the 15th and 16th centuries. The Vivaldi Institute preserves, unique in the world, copies of all Antonio Vivaldi's works. The Institute for Music collects numerous archives of 20th century composers, such as Nino Rota, Gianfrancesco Malipiero, Ottorino Respighi, and their musical score, just the name of just a few. And the Center for Comparative Spirituality has in recent years acquired and catalogued the library and the archives of Tiziano Terzani, one of Italy's best known and most widely read authors and journalists. I cannot fail to mention that in the Institute for Theatre and Melodrama, in addition to preserving all their bibliographical and archival material, they preserving and enhance all the material relating to Eleonora Duse, a splendid actress of the early 20th century. She died in 1924, and this year is dedicated to celebrate the first centenary of his death. So the Institute of Theatre and Melodrama also owns one of the world's largest collection of opera librettos. After restoration work in recent years, in 2010, the Manica Lunga and the Branca Center were open to the public, and these are places where Italian and international scholars meet and deepen their research projects in a truly multidisciplinary and stimulating context. 2018 sees the birth of archive analysis and recording of cultural heritage in Venice, a project shared by Fondazione Giorgio Cini and Factum Foundation of Madrid and supported by Helen Emlyn Trust. One of the objectives of the Digitization Center is the digital reproduction of the cultural heritage of the Fondazione Giorgio Cini and of the other institutions with which we sign specific collaboration agreements. The other two activities in which archive is involved are the heritage enhancement and lifelong education. The AOA Archive Online Academy initiative in which we are involved today constitutes a perfect synthesis of these three activities. In fact, we will present the work in progress on the digital library that exhibits and does enhance some of the Fondazione Cini's cultural heritage collections, digitized by archives or recuperated from previous campaigns. The aim is to recreate the same physical multidisciplinary environment that one person can encounter when arriving in San Giorgio in a digital environment that can be accessed remotely and by a much larger and more interconnected audience of scholars or curious. Before seeing for the first time our work in progress on the digital library live, let me thank the entire archive team that at different levels and for different skills has been and is involved with me in the realization of the digital library. So photographers, librarians, archivists, software developers, and scholarship holders, present and past. So thanks to Dario Peluso, who will speak after me, and to Irene Bigolin, Valentina Venturi, Joan Porcel, and Veronica Giannella. Thanks to the team of OCLC for the Florence Agency, Maurizio Rubino, Simone Falteri, and Marzia Pinzauti for the technical and also moral support. The Studio Multiplo, Andrea Bulgarini Delci, Remo Romano, and Paolo Sartori for the structure and styles of the website. And our colleagues in the communication office who help us a great deal in the enhancement of the content. They are Giovanna Pesaro, Claudio Piscopo, and Sara Papa. All of us coordinated by Chiara Casarini. So I leave now the floor to Dario Peluso. With him, we will see some technical issues, and then we will meet again for a first live exploration of the digital content.
Thank you, Ilenia. So our digital library is based on a product by OCLC, which Ilenia named, called the Content DM. Content DM is a feature complete software, and I have to say the team of OCLC helped us a lot on customizing it and improving it, and also listen to us for any requests we had. So one thing we tried to achieve and are working on is a way of organizing the material inside of the digital library, not only in the classical way, but also through this tag field, which represents the content of each page, each document, so that we can navigate through these terms, which are 8 selected terms that we choose from a selected vocabulary. And these tags come from our effort to, during the post-production process, identify the content of each page. So we talked a lot about the IIIF protocol, and most of us know why we choose it, but it is important to know what are the alternatives and why they are not preferable. So a way in which we can store metadata is the IIIF metadata standard. It is a 30 years old standard, and it is very cluttered by the contribution of several soft camera manufacturers that during the years added fields and made the system very unstable. So we have been using this system, especially the XP keywords introduced by usable in Windows environments, to classify our photographs by their content. We can populate this tag field through easy to use Python libraries, which work well with the software we already developed for our post-production pipeline. It is the information is embedded inside of the image and is searchable through the Windows operating system. So it has some use for us. However, it is optimized for Windows, so it is not very easy to use on other softwares, and it is incompatible with the IIIF standard. There is no way to make it interoperable with other standards. And for the reason I said, that it has been worked on for 30 years by many companies, it is somewhat buggy. It isn't very stable. So it isn't a good choice for reading and writing data. However, we use it for internal purposes. So what we have been doing is we created a little internal tool, which I call Qt Tagger, but it's the beta software, which allows we have a manual pipeline, an automatic pipeline with ends with a manual step, which we check image by image if the digitization process went well. And this step is perfect for us to add manually some information. We selected 8 fields, which have been selected from a chosen vocabulary. Each one of these fields is customizable based on the content of the image. And through the usage of the numeric keypad, we can very quickly flag each image. This information is written in the IIIF metadata, which we still use, and in a TXT file, which is formatted into the proprietary format used by ContentDM produced by OCLC. Of course, we can customize this software, and we are working with OCLC currently on some implementations. We will also try to make the annotation steps automatic through object detection, other computer vision techniques, but it is a work in progress. So how can we use this information? So ContentDM works on the IIIF standard. It is a very powerful platform, and it can show information about the book and the canvas, the page. And the book metadata information comes from the Dublin Core standard, and it is complete. We can show everything through the website. Ilenia will show us later how it works. The only information we can store in our IIIF manifest and read in ContentDM about the page is the label field, which is customizable. In this case, for example, we brought piatto anteriore for one of the pages, but through ContentDM, it is right now the only field we can customize about the page. So what could we do? There are several ways to produce annotations. We have seen one in Gennaro's presentation, and we are trying to understand where to store it. Our IIIF manifest. The proper way, probably, we are working with OCLC these days, is in the other content IIIF field. The other content specifies for each canvas, for each page, a set of annotations, an annotation list which can be textual or even graphical. There is a non field, which allows us to point to precise coordinates on the page so that we can draw on top of the image in real time through a IIIF viewer, the position of the annotation, and also show some textual information. The advantage of this approach, of course, is that it is a robust IIIF JSON LD implementation, and it allows for multiple annotations. There is no limit to the number of annotations. The coordinate system is very powerful. There is a drawback. We don't currently have a way of using it in ContentDM right now. The reason is that we are using Mirador 3, and Mirador 3 works, lets us implement new features through plugins. These plugins require a precise environment, which currently we don't have, but we're working on. We had just a chat this morning about this topic with OCLC, and they have been very helpful of the way. So I'm sure we will solve this issue. To be done, we have some ideas. One is to use this Mirador annotation plugin, which is an official plugin available through the GitHub of Mirador 3. And it requires for us to have full control of the host configuration. So we are working on that. It also needs us to configure a IIIF annotation server. There are several ways in which we can do it. One is Annotot, which can be found on GitHub too. We don't have this one right now in the digital library, but we are working on it.
Thank you. So now just a demonstration live of the point where we are arrived to at this moment on the digital library of the Chile. The first collection we uploaded were those previously handled by archive colleagues in a digital library project that could not be continued. Nevertheless, for the principle of sustainability that we want to pursue, we have recovered as much as possible of the images and metadata already produced. Over the years, digitation projects have continued and much more material has been added and will be added in the near future for remote consultations. So these are the first collection that have found place in this digital tool. Important parts of the collection of rare books, opera librettos, musical manuscripts in Sanskrit, and the Tiziano Terzani photo collection are currently visible. ContentDM support also multimedia files, and we were able to upload some multimedia files related to the Intercultural Institute of Comparative Music Studies. So each collection, for each of these, after a brief presentation, each collection can be browsed and consulted from one on device, choosing also between different types of arrangement, title, author, shelf mark, or data. And you can also use, during each consultation, it's possible to save as favorites the document and that you intend to review at a later date by clicking on the star save button. And it is possible to save them temporarily on the favorite or until the first time the cache is emptied, or more permanently through the login. On the left, there is the filter column. For two collections, as Dario told before, this one of rare books and the one of Terzani positives, we have added some tags. So there is the author, the data, the publisher, the place, and there are these places with the tag. And so we have added some tags, creating a short control vocabulary, and this way you can choose to see only those volumes, those books that have at least one illustration or an initial or a woodcut frame or an illumination and so on. And choosing one of them, and I want to choose one, choosing one of them, the item to be consulted, we can find a digital copy of the record with the metadata, with the context information and the IIIF manifest here that I copy. For the bibliographical material, we have created the circularity that from the digital library leads to the complete record of the SBN catalog. Here it's run. And vice versa. This second part, the vice versa, is a work in progress by our colleague in the library. In addition to this default visualization of the item, I can choose the visualization through the IIIF Mirador viewer that allows precisely different types of comparison, sometimes responding better to the information needs of the user. In this case, for example, I want to add a second time the same book to having a sort of two copies in my desktop. And the reason why I want this condition maybe, for example, because I want to scroll in the pages of the book, maybe because I want to compare these two types of columns at the beginning of the books. And if you are looking, this is a recto page and a verso page, and also if I was in the library with the original copy in my hands, I cannot do the same observation and the same comparison between these two woodcuts. So this is one of the use very useful for us to compare different pages of the same book. Another very useful use for us has been, and I come back to Dante, that is in the life of every one of us. So another very useful use for us has been to be able to compare two copies of the same work preserved in two different places, as in the case of Dante Divine Comedy, printed in Venice in 1491, and which was the subject of an archive project, the Dante 1491 project, carried out by Martina Gzesiak, and which you can find the results on the website of the archive. So this is our digitized copy of the Dante Divina Commedia 1491, printed in Venice. Like many copies that belonged to this collector, that was Victor Masséna, Prince of Essling, is almost completely free of possessions, notes, and sign of use. So it's very clean and beautiful to look. Maybe going on the first illustrated page, you can appreciate. But the use of this IIIF viewer was very important for compare our copy with the copy present of the same Divine Comedy present at the Library of Congress. Here there is the record of the edition. We can find the link, the manifest that I can copy, and sorry, because the visualization of where here. Okay, I can add this second copy of Dante to having both in the same screen, and to compare, for example, these two pages that for us were very interesting. As I told you, the book is quite clean and without annotation use. But sometimes, if you look deeply, we can find something. So, just a moment, I look at the pages. Yeah, this is our copies, and we can see that in this woodcut we have a sort of a manipulation of the images in that point. So looking at the same woodcut in the same edition, but in a different copy, that one, this from the Library of Congress, I can zoom it and compare the illustration and understand quite easily where the entity of this manipulation. So in this case, the reader wanted to erase this part of the address, so the tiara, that is the typical papal address, and so he wants to delete the presence of a pope in the Inferno where Dante have placed him. So only through this comparison we can understand the intention of the reader of the Divine Comedy. Here, the two. So back to the collection. Now we have, let's look at the opera librettos. In this collection, you can find more than 1,000 digitized opera librettos, but the Institute of Theatre and Melodrama has a very, very huge collection of these. Here, the same column with the filters by author and year of publication and place of publication. And it's very useful to the same visualization, because here we can find different editions of the same opera. So maybe it can be useful having 2 or 3 different editions of the same opera to compare in the same screen. And scrolling down the pages of this collection that present the cover pages in these little icons, while just scrolling, we notice some similarities, and we verify them by comparing digitally, not physically in the library, but digitally, and the 3 elements that we recognize. So I select them, and I can find in my list of favorite, and these are the 3 elements that I can see through the IIIF viewer. And here, this is where we got the 3 covers with which our colleagues in the communication office made the image of our meeting today. So here we'd like to thank also Claudia Giordano, that is a conservator, restorer, and decorated paper expert, to whom I turned these photos and who provide me with specific description for this ornament that you can recognize is the same in these 3 different items. She answered me with this definition: rings on lobed rhomboid rondels in checkered pattern with color variations. And she was able to trace the production to the Remondini of Bassano towards the end of the 19th century. So I finished this brief. Yes, we are only to spend some words about this tool for the visualization of the images, and maybe it could be interesting to see during this with this example with the Dante comedy, where I can height, increase the brightness, the contrast, and the saturation of the image. And then come back to the original file. I can also see the images through a grayscale or invert the colors. This particular function is important for our collection of negative that could be also uploaded in this digital library in the next when we are ready to digitize the entire collection. I just finish with a brief reflection on the opportunities that the choice of data sharing offers. This brief presentation is the result of shared work and shared skills. As I told you before, librarians, scholars, photographers, archivists, graphic designers, data architects, and software developers have contributed to this result, which is still in progress, as you can see, and it will certainly take advantage of today's remarks to refine it. Recalling the case of these three decorated papers, we can say that the digital library with the IIIF viewer, in addition to allowing remote access to the document itself, in this case, the Didone Drama per Musica or Creonte Drama per Musica, so the opera libretti themselves, facilitated comparison by images and clarification by, in this case, by the paper expert, but also inspired our communication office for the creation of content to promote this course. Through newsletter and social media, these images certainly reached a wider audience, and who knows, perhaps new curious people or scholars, or just users that want to only have fun connecting with our digital libraries and digital collection and digital heritage. So new technology, the IIIF in particular, confirms that sharing data and skill, even across different professional or cultural backgrounds, is a very productive way to research and advance in knowledge. Thank you very much. And now I give back the floor to Costanza. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I pinned my face as... Sorry, 1 second. I don't want to be... Here I am. Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed to all of you. And well, I think that from all example, we perceive how IIIF goes in the direction everybody wants to go. Facilitating access and study, of course, making easier to read and see contents, as in the examples you showed us, Ilenia, like highlighting and making it possible to confront easily, very easily, differences and or similarities. So, and these are, let's say the fundamental tools that IIIF allows. I think next week we will dig a bit more into the tools you were showing now about changing the lights and applied on 3D images. So it will be complementary to this lesson. Will be interesting. And again, thank you very much. I see that there are a couple of questions, so I don't continue. Maybe. Well, it's more of a question for the speakers. If it's possible to download the PowerPoint presentation, it could be interesting to have them. Well, I answered just because I think it might be interesting for other people. I think we will talk with the speakers and be back to you. If anybody has some specific question about or ask for specific things, or as in this case, PowerPoints, maybe better to send an email to info.aoa at cini.it. So it's we are sure that the question is correctly addressed. Thank you for adding in the chat.
We have an internal question. We have a question for Gennaro Ferrante. And we saw that part of the Dante manuscripts were digitized by you or by institutional link to you. And we wanted to know where are they hosted out? Did you link them through the manifest JSON to the IIIF? Are they hosted somewhere in the library that possess the documents, or did you digitize them and host the copies outside?
Okay, it depends on the on the agreements we did with each of libraries. For the national libraries, we had a national agreement, which has been signed by the former minister of culture, not this former, but the previous one, and much better. And yes, in that case, for the national libraries, the state national libraries, the agreement was that we provide a copy for us, so which are stored in our NAS on so physically stored in 3 parts in 3 different places in the Federico II, and upload through JPEG 2000 in our servers, and in Federico II servers, and we provide also a copy, a digital copy, to each state library, which means that the libraries have also a TIFF format copy for them, and they can also use them. And in this agreement, we also asked for a IIIF intervention. So the IIIF also has the right to display a copy in what it was the Internet Culturale. I don't know what it is now, Internet Culturale, but the initial agreement was that Internet Culturale, which is also a national gallery of digitized cultural objects, displaying all the digitized cultural objects of all the state libraries. So the Internet Culturale should and could also display the online images of what we digitized.
Thank you.
And actually, I had a very similar question to Flavia Bruni. So I guess that not all content can be IIIF compatible, compliant, and at the same way, so the institution shared the contents, but are just shared, like are shared online and visualized through the Europeana, or is it different?
So it depends from the quality of data, and of course also from the choices of the institution that provides the data. So for instance, we can still find some images in Europeana that are of very low quality and that you cannot download. For instance, they have a watermark that is something that is absolutely discouraged because it's not good for users. And so it's a matter of choices of the institute and also of capabilities if the digitization is good enough. So it's, for instance, a matter for digital objects that were produced, for instance, 10 years ago or more, because perhaps the quality is not good enough. So that's.
And so, as we were saying, as Ilenia was mentioning, it's choice on sustainability, not to take pictures again, to record everything again. Well, maybe in the future, if there will be time and resources, but otherwise, what is? There is a question, I guess. Please.
Yes. Hi. Hi, nice to meet
Hello.
you. I'm Silvia. I'm a PhD student from the University of Bologna, currently working on dance cultural heritage. This is a question for the Cini Foundation team. Do you have any video resources in your online catalog? The one for the theater, for example, because I'm working on video annotation, and I think that is crucial for dance cultural heritage, for example, to improve those kind of strategies. So this is a question. This is my question. Thank you.
We have a collection with multimedia resources, so we were able to upload these that are audio and video It's only a short collection that we decided to upload for the needs of the institute, but we understand that that it works. So in the future can be a possibility, but now we don't have a collection well organized of video that needs to be uploaded on the digital library. We have a sort of video in the YouTube channels of the Cini Foundation, but not in the. We are not in program now to improve the digital library with this kind of document for now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I guess not because it's not recognized the importance, of course, just because other priorities and maybe bigger collections are waiting or already almost ready to be online. Thank you for the question. Don't be shy. If you have comments and questions, please share.
So I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I have a question regarding the security systems. When you browse, for instance, and you research an image, some internet devices can block the access to the image. For example, Google, Opera, or Safari has their own blocking devices. So regarding this access to every images with the IIIF, would it be possible to jump out these security measures, or would they indeed represent a real problem? Because even if the access is free, sometimes it's not possible due to this kind of security systems made by the operators to access to the images. So
I can answer for us. This problem has two different aspects. One is our service. We buy this package called Content DM by OCLC, and the security aspect of it is their matter. So I'm not familiar with how do they solve this issue. But regarding the IIIF protocol, of course, we are actually accessing to materials that some can be all around the world, and maybe for any reason the access can be limited. So yes, it depends on the government politics, policies sometimes. I don't think there is a way through the protocol to overcome this issue. I don't know if Flavia Bruni maybe has more information on a European level.
I think it's a matter of, I mean, it's user-based. So it's the security on the side of the user. And for what I know, I don't know, I never had issues in accessing images. To my knowledge, there are issues in accessing websites using Java, because Java can be potentially harmful. But to be honest, I never heard of any discussion on this issue for images, so I don't know.
Yes, so thank you for having answered. And maybe it will be good to have a global policy in order to allow some browsers to show images, or in fact to propose something to load down or to facilitate the access of images.
Have you encountered this issue in your exploring the materials? I'm interested.
So with Safari, for instance, even with a free image, sometimes the image can have low resolution or can be only showed in small dimensions, even if the size is very big, or there is a message that said, no, you are not allowed to access to the image. Also with Google, sometimes it's happens the same. And I don't know the reason, because these images are cultural images, so it's not hot content between brackets. So I don't know why there is still some blocking schemes on these images.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I don't know about these specific cases, but thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
There is another hand, so.
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. So I'm looking through, thank you very much for the presentation, it was great. I'm looking through the API documentation for IIIF, and maybe I'm wrong, but I cannot find any information about the location, for example, of images. Is that something that is not available, or maybe are you planning to add that in the future? Because for images that are, or books or whatever, that are just one object, could be interesting to have also the location. I guess you can find this data on OPAC, but maybe.
Yes, if you talk about the metadata field,
yeah.
It is built as a list, let's call it a list of couples of label and value, and you can populate it as well as you want with any information you want. So it is very flexible. You can add field a label called location and a value for it.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, we have seen a very deep usage of this feature by Journal Ferrante presentation, and we use it too. So it is very flexible.
Okay, so those labels, they are not binding.
They're not fixed.
To some...
They're not fixed.
Okay, okay, I thought they were standard. Okay, thanks.
Thank you for asking.
Perhaps something that I wanted to add to my presentation that I had no time to say is that annotation is also very valuable for Europeana, because it's a way of improving metadata, perhaps also by organizing the transcribathons with the students. And so if we can find a way of sharing this data to Europeana, it would improve the shared platform and improve access to resources. So that's, and of course, the IIIF would be a valuable tool for this as well.
Thank you very much. If there are no other questions and you don't want to add something else, which of course we have time, but otherwise we can greet everybody and say bye-bye and say you well, remind you that next week on the 23rd of September there will be the second session, same hour, 3 to 5 p.m. European time. And well, I guess we share some links on in the chat. For example, the Dante Illuminated project. Well, Europeana is very also very easy to find, I guess, and probably well known. Digital library of Fondazione Giorgio Puccini is well, it's online. We can say that. We saw that this online was not officially shared much because it's a work in progress, as you have seen. Actually, maybe online there are still the two versions of the digital library. And this is, I'm saying this like the old one and the newer one. Is it true?
No, I think the old one is finished
for now. Good.
Yesterday, yes.
Okay, no, this is just in case because maybe somebody was Googling it and was potentially finding the old one, but no worries, no secrets. I mean, the contents are just implemented and definitely implemented. So it's good also to see how technologies and all developed. So thank you very much to everybody and see you next time.
Thank you, Costanza, for organizing.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.